Hey everyone, Jake here from the Hook Advice. So, got a lot of requests for a step-by-step of this simple baitfish pattern that I posted, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago. So I figured I'd do a video, go over some things. Really simple baitfish pattern. I really like to use these for smallmouth, largemouth, schoolie striped bass, really any other predator fish that's gonna attack these, whether it's in fresh or salt water. They work really well. Not a whole lot of materials, some bucktail and some crystal braid for the body. It's tied on a Gamakatsu SL12S hook. So we'll kind of go over it here. Really simple to tie. All your materials are tied in the front of the hook, and then everything's protected by your either epoxy head or UV head, whichever you choose to do. I like UV because it's quick. You can cure it really quickly and don't have to wait for that epoxy to set. So put our hook in the vise. We're going to start a nice thread base here. Just something for that crystal braid body to adhere to. And go ahead and work our thread back up to the front here. Snip out our excess. And take your crystal braid and tie it right in at the front of the fly. I usually leave a little room towards the eye of the hook to where I'm going to be tying in my bucktail. So tie it in, leave a little space, like I said, for your bucktail tying at the front. Work it back to where you're going to want to start your body. And then just work it back to the front of your fly here. I like to just throw down a quick layer of some super glue here. What that is going to do is just help this crystal braid body adhere to this thread base a lot better, and really just going to help with the durability of the fly. So just take some nice touching wraps towards the front of the hook, and then we'll tie it off once we get up there. So once you get towards the front, just lock it in, a couple turns behind it, a couple turns in front of it, and we'll snip that out. So our next material is going to be our white bucktail, and you can either blend your bucktail or stack it, doesn't really matter. For this video I'm just going to stack it. You want your ties to be pretty sparse. This isn't a huge bulky fly, so just take out your shorter fibers, because those aren't really going to do you any good for this fly. And keep the longer ones here. Just kind of measure off what you think looks good off the back of your fly here. Trim it and tie it in right at the front here. You want to tie that in right on top of the shank of the hook, so you want to kind of pinch it as you tie it in. That way the bucktail doesn't spin around a whole lot. And the next color I'm going to use, you can use olive, gray, black, really any other color you want. Here I'm going to use gray. That was the color of the original fly I had posted, so we'll stick with that. Same thing, once you get it measured, just pinch it, tie it in right on top of that white. Start to build a nice little head here. So now that we got that bucktail in there, we got our gray on top of our white. I'm just going to throw in some lateral flash. I'm using pearl flashabou that's dyed black, so it kind of has a green tint to it almost. So I'm just going to use a single strand here, just enough to give it a little bit of a flash. Just tie that in, just splay it off to either side. I'm going to pull it back and then tie it the rest of the way in. And then you can kind of trim it to just around the same length as the bucktail here. That gives you a little bit of flash in there. So once you're done that, you're almost done. You can just finish off your head here and whip finish. And trim out your thread. And now we're actually going to work on getting those eyes on there and building the head. So. I'm using these small living eyes in the ice color from Flyman Fishing Company. Just gonna put a little dab on here, just enough to hold that eye. Hold it on there long enough to set. After we're done building the head, you can either choose to, I'll put some like horizontal lines down the back of the fly in the gray with a black Sharpie. That's obviously optional, and you can add those in with any color you want. You can add those lines in there if you'd like. Those eyes look pretty good. So I'm going to throw some Raid Zap Flex in there. That's just my UV of choice. Kind of build this little head in there. That's going to cover all your whip finish and everything in there and kind of bring it all together. Real simple bait fish pattern. Really effective, nice and sparse, light, easy to cast, and it really imitates a lot of little bait fish patterns that bass in particular like to eat. That's what I use this mostly for. Go ahead and do the underside of those eyes as well. Like I said, you can do this in epoxy. I just find UV is a whole lot easier to cover everything, and you don't have to wait for it to all set in and stuff. So